nobody saw it coming. After years of heartbreak, unanswered questions, and the lingering pain of loss, a shocking twist is set to change everything. Ty Borden, the beloved character fans thought was gone forever, might not be gone after all. Heartland Season 19 is about to deliver the most jaw-dropping storyline in the show's history. What really happened to Ty? Could he be alive? And if so, why has he stayed away for so long? The answers will shake Heartland to its core, leaving Amy, Jack, and the entire Bartlett Fleming family questioning everything they thought they knew. For years, fans have struggled to accept Ty's tragic fate. His loss left a hole in Amy's heart, forcing her to navigate life as a single mother while still holding on to the memories of their deep love. But just when Amy begins to find peace, whispers of something unbelievable surfaced: he might not be dead. At first, it seems impossible. The evidence was clear, or was it? A cryptic message arrives at Heartland, something so small, yet so specific that it stops Amy in her tracks. A note, unsigned but familiar, contains words only Ty would say, a phrase that once meant the world to them. Amy tries to dismiss it as a cruel joke, but the unease won't leave her. She confides in Jack, whose sharp instincts tell him something is off. He's seen a lot in his life, and he knows one thing for sure: when something doesn't feel right, it usually isn't. Meanwhile, strange occurrences begin around the ranch. A figure spotted in the distance vanishes before anyone can get a closer look. A horse Amy once trained with Ty reacts as if sensing someone it remembers. Could it be Ty? Or is this just the mind playing tricks, a desperate attempt to hold on to the past? Amy isn't the only one unsettled. Georgie, now older and wiser, starts digging. Using her connections, she uncovers something shocking: Ty's final records have inconsistencies. Details don't add up. A missing file, a report that was quietly altered. Someone went to great lengths to make sure Ty's fate remained unquestioned. But why? And who would go that far? As Amy struggles with this revelation, she's faced with a terrifying question. If Ty is alive, why hasn't he come home? The answer might be more dangerous than anyone realizes. Because if someone wanted Ty to disappear, they might do anything to keep him hidden. A storm is coming, and Heartland will never be the same again. The weight of uncertainty hangs heavy over Heartland. Amy can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. The note, the strange sightings, the way the horses are reacting, it all feels too real to ignore. But if Ty is alive, why hasn't he come back? Why would he let her believe he was gone for so long? The questions are suffocating, but Amy knows one thing: she needs answers. Jack, ever the steady force in her life, warns her to tread carefully. He's seen how hope can be dangerous, how it can lead people down paths they weren't ready to walk. What if this is just someone playing a cruel trick? He asks. Amy wants to believe he's wrong, but deep down, she knows he has a point. And yet something inside her refuses to let go. Meanwhile, Georgie digs deeper into the inconsistencies she uncovered. The missing file isn't just an accident, it was deliberately erased. Someone didn't want Ty's records to be found. With the help of an old friend in law enforcement, she tracks down a lead, a name that was removed from the official reports. Someone who was there the day Ty supposedly died. Someone who knows the truth. As Georgie follows the trail, Amy's world becomes even more unsettling. Late one night, she hears a noise outside the barn. At first, she thinks it's just the wind. But then she sees it, a shadow moving near the corral. Her heart pounds. She grabs a flashlight and steps outside, scanning the darkness. "Hello," she calls out. No answer. Just silence. And then hoofbeats. The sound of a horse galloping away, as if someone had been there and vanished before she could see them. Lou, always the practical one, tells Amy she's just imagining things. "You've been under a lot of stress," she says. Maybe it's time to let this go. But Amy can't. She knows what she saw. And when she checks the barn the next morning, her suspicions deepen. One of the old saddles is missing the same saddle that once belonged to Ty. Across town, Georgie finally gets a breakthrough. The name she uncovered belongs to a man named Daniel Reeves, a former paramedic who was first on the scene when Ty was injured. But when Georgie tries to contact him, she hits a wall. His phone is disconnected. His last known address is abandoned. It's as if he vanished into thin air. The deeper they dig, the darker the mystery becomes. What really happened that day? Was Ty taken? If so, by whom? And for what reason? The answers feel just out of reach. But one thing is becoming clear: someone doesn't want the truth to come out. The air around Heartland feels heavier, thick with questions that no one can answer. Amy tries to go about her daily routine tending to the horses, looking after Lindy, but she can't ignore the growing feeling that something is about to change forever. The feeling creeps up her spine. Someone is watching. She feels it when she's in the barn, when she's out in the pastures, even in the house. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle in the trees, it all feels like something or someone is lurking just beyond her reach. Jack notices it too. He doesn't say much, but his protective instincts kick in. He starts keeping his rifle close, his eyes scanning the horizon more than usual. He may be a man of few words, but his actions speak volumes. And right now, everything he's doing tells Amy one thing: he senses something is wrong. Meanwhile, Georgie refuses to give up on finding Daniel Reeves, the missing paramedic. If he was the first person to reach Ty that day, he knows something. But every attempt to track him down leads to another dead end. Frustrated but determined, Georgie turns to an unexpected ally: Scott Cardinal, Heartland's trusted veterinarian and a longtime family friend. Scott has connections, people in places that Georgie doesn't. When she tells him about the missing files and the name Daniel Reeves, Scott grows quiet. He hesitates, then finally says, "I know that name." George's pulse quickens. How? Scott sighs, rubbing his hands over his face. Because he wasn't just a paramedic. He used to work in search and rescue. And more importantly, he knew Ty. The revelation hits Georgie like a lightning bolt. Why would someone who knew Ty be the first on the scene that day? Why would his records be erased? It doesn't make sense unless someone wanted to hide the truth. Back at Heartland, Amy finds something that stops her in her tracks. Tucked deep in the corner of the old tack room, buried under layers of dust, is a worn leather journal. She knows it instantly. It belonged to Ty. Her hands tremble as she flips through the pages, scanning the familiar handwriting. Most of it is old, filled with notes about horses and plans for the future. But near the end, something catches her eye: a single line, scrawled hastily as if written in a rush. "If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident." Amy's breath catches in her throat. The words send a chill through her entire body. What did Ty mean? What was he afraid of? Before she can process it, something else happens. That night, the power at Heartland goes out. At first, it seems like a simple blackout, but then Amy hears it: the sound of someone outside. She grabs a flashlight and rushes to the porch. In the distance, barely visible through the darkness, is a figure on horseback, the same figure she's seen before. Amy's heart pounds as she takes a step forward, but before she can call out, the figure turns and disappears into the trees. This isn't her imagination. Someone is out there, and they don't want to be found. The pieces are starting to come together, but the truth is still just out of reach. One thing is certain: Amy isn't giving up. If there's even the slightest chance that Ty is alive, she will find him. Even if it means risking everything. Amy's hands tremble as she clutches Ty's journal. The words on the page haunt her. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident. What was Ty afraid of? What had he uncovered before his so-called death? The questions refused to leave her mind. Someone wanted his disappearance to remain unquestioned. And now Amy is certain whoever is behind it won't let the truth come out easily. Jack, seeing the turmoil in Amy's eyes, decides it's time to take matters into his own hands. He's always been the rock of Heartland, the protector. And he won't let Amy walk into danger alone. He starts asking around old friends, ranchers, anyone who might have heard whispers of something unusual. But instead of answers, he finds silence. People seem hesitant, nervous, unwilling to talk. Meanwhile, Georgie finally gets a breakthrough. Scott manages to track down a lead Daniel Reeves had a brother, Michael Reeves, who owns a small ranch outside of Hudson. It's their best shot at getting answers. Georgie doesn't hesitate. She jumps into her truck and heads straight there, her heart pounding. When she arrives, she finds an old, rundown property with boarded-up windows and a rusted-out truck in the yard. The place looks abandoned, but just as she's about to leave, she hears movement inside. She knocks. No answer. She knocks again, harder. Michael Reeves, I need to talk to you. Silence. Then a voice from the other side of the door. Go away. George's pulse quickens. I'm looking for Daniel. I know he was at the scene when Ty. The door swings open before she can finish. A man stands there, his face shadowed, his expression hard. I said, go away. I just want to know the truth, Georgie says, not backing down. Michael's jaw tightens. He glances around as if making sure no one else is watching. Then, in a low voice, he says something that sends a chill down George's spine. There is no truth, not one you'll want to hear. He slams the door shut, leaving Georgie stunned. But she knows one thing: he's hiding something. Back at Heartland, Amy's own search for answers takes a terrifying turn. Late at night, she is woken by a sound outside, a horse neighing, a low, distant rumble. She grabs a jacket and rushes outside, flashlight in hand. The air is cold, thick with an eerie silence. Then she sees hoofprints in the dirt, leading away from the barn. Someone was just here, watching, waiting. Fear grips her, but she refuses to let it win. Following the tracks, she moves toward the tree line. The deeper she goes, the darker it becomes. The wind howls. Branches creak. But she presses forward, and then she hears a voice. Faint, familiar. Her breath catches. She calls out, Ty? Silence. Then a twig snaps behind her. Amy spins around, her flashlight shaking, but there's no one there. Just the endless, suffocating darkness of the night. Something isn't right. Someone is toying with her, luring her deeper into a mystery that feels more dangerous by the second. But Amy isn't turning back. If there's even a chance he is alive, she'll find him, even if it means stepping straight into the unknown. Amy returns to the house, but sleep is impossible. Her mind races, her body tense with fear and anticipation. Someone was out there. Someone is watching Heartland. And now more than ever, she's convinced this isn't her imagination. She isn't losing her grip on reality. Ty might really be alive. And someone is working hard to keep her from finding him. The next morning, Jack is already up, standing on the porch with his rifle slung over his shoulder. His face is hard, unreadable. But Amy knows him well enough to see through it. He's worried. You heard something last night, didn't you? Amy asks. Jack nods. Wasn't just hearing, Amy. I saw something. Amy's pulse quickens. A horse, black as the night itself, standing just at the edge of the woods. As soon as I moved, it disappeared. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't just in her head. Someone was here. Determined to get to the bottom of this, Amy and Georgie decide to confront Michael Reeves again. If Daniel was the first responder at Ty's accident and his records were erased, it's because he knew something. And Michael, he's hiding it. This time, they aren't leaving without answers. When they arrive at Michael's property, they find him in the barn, saddling up a horse. He sees them coming, his expression guarded. "I told you to stay away," he warns. Amy steps forward. "Not until you tell me what happened to Ty." Michael's jaw tightens. "You don't want to know." Georgie folds her arms. "Try us." For a long moment, Michael just stands there. Then, finally, he exhales, his shoulders sagging as if carrying the weight of something unbearable. "There was no accident," he says. Amy's breath catches. Michael continues, his voice lower now, almost a whisper. "Daniel was never supposed to be there that day. He wasn't on call. But he got a tip off someone needed help at the accident site. But when he got there, Ty was already gone. Not dead. Gone. Taken." Amy feels the ground tilt beneath her. "Who took him?" she demands. Michael shakes his head. "I don't know. But Daniel did. And whatever he found out afterward scared him enough to go off the grid. He knew if he talked, he wouldn't be safe." Amy's mind spins. If Ty was taken, why? And by whom? Michael looks at them, his gaze dark. "You need to stop looking, Amy. If they know you're asking questions, you'll be in danger too." But Amy isn't stopping. She can't. Because if Ty was taken, it means he's still out there somewhere. And she will find him. No matter what it takes. Amy grips the truck's steering wheel, her knuckles turning white. The words "Ty was taken" echo in her mind over and over. She can barely breathe, the thought of him being alive somewhere, held against his will, burning through her like wildfire. She needs to find him, now. Beside her, Georgie stares straight ahead, her mind clearly racing as well. "If Ty was taken," she says. Her voice is tight. It means someone wanted him out of the picture, someone powerful enough to erase every trace of him. Amy swallows hard. "And if they know we're looking..." Georgie finishes the thought. "They won't let us find him." Back at Heartland, Jack and Tim are already on high alert. Jack watches over the ranch like a hawk, his old instincts kicking in. He's seen enough in his lifetime to know when something isn't right, and right now, nothing is right. Then something happens that sends chills through Amy's entire body. A letter arrives, no postage, no return address, just a folded piece of paper slipped under the ranch gate. Inside, in messy handwriting, are 5 words. "Stop looking. He's gone forever." Amy's hands tremble as she stares at the note. A warning. A threat. Someone knows she's getting close. But instead of fear, something else rises inside her anger. She won't stop. She can't stop. Georgie does more digging, tracing any last known connections to Daniel Reeves. After hours of searching, she finds a lead. Daniel once worked for a private emergency response team contracted by the government. If that's true, then Ty's disappearance might not have been random at all. Amy and Georgie decide to follow their only lead, Daniel's last known location, before he vanished. It's a long shot, but it's all they have. They drive for hours, deep into the outskirts of Hudson, where an abandoned medical station stands in the middle of nowhere. As they approach, Amy's heart pounds. The place looks empty, forgotten, but something feels off. Then, a noise, a rustling inside. Georgie grips Amy's arm. "Did you hear that?" Amy nods. We're not alone. Slowly, they push the door open. Dust fills the air, and old medical equipment sits scattered, untouched for years. But in the far corner, Something catches Amy's eye, a stack of patient files covered in dust. Her fingers shake as she flips through them, searching for one name. Then she finds it. Ty Fleming. Amy's breath catches. The file is thin, almost empty, except for one note scrawled at the bottom. Transferred. Subject under special care. No outside contact. Amy stares at the words, her pulse hammering in her ears. Ty was taken, and someone went to great lengths to make sure he never came home. But now she has proof, and nothing will stop her from finding him. Amy's hands tremble as she stares at the note. A warning. A threat. Someone knows she's getting close, but instead of fear, something else rises inside her anger. She won't stop. She can't stop. Georgie does more digging, tracing any last known connections to Daniel Reeves. After hours of searching, she finds a lead. Daniel once worked for a private emergency response team contracted by the government. If that's true, then Ty's disappearance might not have been random at all. Amy and Georgie decide to follow their only lead, Daniel's last known location, before he vanished. It's a long shot, but it's all they have. They drive for hours, deep into the outskirts of Hudson, where an abandoned medical station stands in the middle of nowhere. As they approach, Amy's heart pounds. The place looks empty, forgotten, but something feels off. Then a noise, a rustling inside. Georgie grips Amy's arm. Did you hear that? Amy nods. We're not alone. Slowly, they push the door open. Dust fills the air, and old medical equipment sits scattered, untouched for years. But in the far corner, something catches Amy's eye, a stack of patient files covered in dust. Her fingers shake as she flips through them, searching for one name. Then she finds it. Ty Fleming. Amy's breath catches. The file is thin, almost empty except for one note scrawled at the bottom. Transferred. Subject under special care. No outside contact. Amy stares at the words, her pulse hammering in her ears. Ty was taken, and someone went to great lengths to make sure he never came home. But now she has proof, and nothing will stop her from finding him. Amy's hands tremble as she clutches the file. The words, transferred. Subject under special care. No outside contact. Burn into her mind. Ty wasn't just taken, he was deliberately hidden. Someone made sure no one would find him. But why? And where? Georgie peers over her shoulder, her eyes scanning the document. There's no location, she mutters. No hospital name, no facility, just transferred. Frustration burns in Amy's chest. Whoever did this wanted to erase Ty completely, but they missed something. At the bottom of the page, barely legible under layers of dust, is a set of initials. D.R. Daniel Reeves, Georgie whispers. This was his handwriting. Amy's breath catches. If Daniel left this behind, maybe he wanted someone to find it. Maybe he regretted whatever he got himself involved in. Then another sound. A shuffle outside the building. Amy's heart pounds. Someone's watching us, Georgie breathes. She pulls Amy toward the shadows, her breath quick. We need to go. Now. They slip out the back door, moving quickly toward the truck. Amy glances over her shoulder just in time to see a dark figure disappear behind the building. Someone was there, and they know what she just found. By the time they return to Heartland, Jack and Tim are waiting. Amy barely makes it up the porch steps before she holds out the file. He was transferred, Jack. He's alive. He has to be. Jack takes the paper, his expression unreadable as he scans the words. Then, slowly, he nods. Someone went to a lot of trouble to cover this up. Tim clenches his fists. And we're going to find out why. The next day, Amy and Georgie take the file to Scott. If anyone can help decipher what it means, it's him. As soon as Scott sees the initials, his face changes. His usual calm demeanor falters. "Scott," Amy prompts. Scott hesitates before speaking. "I knew Daniel Reeves," he finally says, "a long time ago. Before he was a paramedic, he worked in remote medical transport, specialized in high-risk extractions." Amy's breath catches. Extractions. Scott exhales. If Ty was transferred under special care, it means he wasn't just taken to a hospital. He was moved somewhere secret, somewhere only a handful of people would know about. Amy grips the table. "Then where is he, Scott?" Scott shakes his head. "I don't know. Don't know. But I might know someone who does." He pulls out his phone and dials a number. The room is silent as it rings. Then, finally, someone picks up. Scott doesn't waste time. "It's me. I need information on a patient transfer from 4 years ago. No records. No trail. Just initials D, AR." A pause. Then a voice on the other end. "You don't want to go digging into this, Scott." Amy's stomach twists. Another warning. Another attempt to keep the truth buried. But it's too late. She is digging. And she's not stopping. Because now she knows Ty is alive. And she's closer than ever to finding him.